Hi, Roy here on my channel Roy Reads Anything, where I chat about things I've read, often with benign interventions from my beloved wife Jenny.
Hello, I am the beloved wife.
If she's in earshot, which she is at the moment, I think. So, going to talk about Victober. So, Victober is a month of celebrating Victorian literature, and it's a booktube event that's been going for quite some time. I think this might be the 9th year.
Really?
Yeah, devised by Katie Lumsden, Books and Things, and the co-hosts are Kate Howe reads, Marissa, blatantly bookish, and Roz, scally-dandling about the books. And it's the kind of event that says, do what you want, read something Victorian, that's all you need to do to participate. But there are challenges and prompts. So just running through those, I'll put the details down below because each of these has a sort of an originator amongst the co-hosts, so you can get more details and recommendations directly from them. So Kate's challenge: read a Victorian book where religion is a component of the story. Katie's challenge: read a Victorian book that plays with form in some way. Marissa challenge: read a Victorian work that was originally serialised. And then from Roz: experience Victorian drama. Read, watch or listen to a Victorian play. Plus there are group challenges, and these honour two booktubers who've sadly passed away recently. So to honouring Jennifer Brooks, read a Victorian work by Wilkie Collins, and Alice and the Giant Bookshelf, read a Victorian work by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And if that's not enough, there's a group read, which is The Doctor's Wife by Mary Elizabeth Braddon. So I'll definitely be doing the group read. I actually started this during Garb August, read volume 1 because it was originally a 3-decker novel. Thought it was great, but moved on to other stuff in that month. So looking forward to jumping on this. I'll probably reread the bits and read the 2 chapters a day that come within the programme, the schedule, whatever, the plan.
The plan, the thing, the use it, the what's name.
So, The Doctor's Wife. So, Braddon was one of the celebrity authors of the time, and this, among other amazing things, has a sensation fiction author in it called Sigismund Smith.
Sigismund the Mad Maths Master.
He's like Sigismund the Mad Maths Master, yeah, and a heroine who is an avid reader of romances. So really looking forward to that. Now, I was particularly interested in the idea of a work that was originally serialised, and also of a book that plays with form in some way. And there was a lot of talk about Wilkie Collins' Armadale in both of those contexts, really, because it's got lots of it's got things like letters in it and different perspectives from different characters, I think. So it sort of does play with form, and it was serialised. So that sounds good. And Katie Lumsden says it's great, and I really like The Woman in White and The Moonstone. So this is Armadale. All roads lead to Armadale. So I got myself a cheap World's Classics, which is sometimes I just like to buy the most basic copy possible, and I can write on it and not worry about creasing the spine, that kind of thing. This one, interestingly, for a book that has doubles in it, as in doubled characters, the original owners, according to this Ex Libris sticker, were 2 people whose surname is Twin, with 2 N's. So there you go. So this looks great. I was looking into it and interested in the serial aspect. I'm sometimes like to find, if I can, some of the original places where the serials appeared, and this was in the Cornhill Magazine. So I've got a set of those, and there's some Armadale. In this context, you get illustrations as well. So that's interesting. I'm sort of reading about it. And one interesting thing was that so the Cornhill Magazine, published by Smith and Elder. Smith had lost out on the Woman in White. He could have had the Woman in White. He could have signed the Beatles. Well, no, not that, but he could have published the Woman in White and didn't. So to make up for it, he was definitely going to get this new novel from Wilkie Collins, and offered a princely sum of £5,000 was going to go Collins' way. But because of suffering from gout, the Armadale was a year late coming. So there was this gap. Gout created gap.
Gout.
And that was filled by Frederick Greenwood, one of the editors of the magazine, wrote his own sensation novel to be serialised and fill the gap. Probably not the first editor to have to wade in and write something when an author hadn't provided what was expected. So this book is called Margaret Denzil's History, as annotated by her husband. That's its first appearance. So I got quite interested in this because, unlike Armadale, still in print, considered a classic, this hasn't even made it into Project Gutenberg. It's like pretty much forgotten. A few academics have written about it. Yet another sensational novel about bigamy. But I thought the idea of it being the main text written by Margaret Denzil, but with her husband throwing in footnotes and comments, that's interesting, playing with form. Who are we going to believe? The person who writes the book, most of it, or this husband dude who seems to have the last word? So I decided I would read that, but I'll read that in advance, a sort of warm-up, get my Victorian reading muscles flexing again. So Margaret Denzil's History is a bonus read, but for serialised stuff, reading Armadale. Okay, stick with me, because another prompt is to do with a book that deals with religion. That is one thing. October is also Occult Detective October, which I'm participating in and a co-host for. So obviously I'm keen on books that might straddle both. So I thought it was time to read Cecilia de Noël. Cecilia de Noël by Lanoe Falconer, whose real name was Mary Elizabeth Hawker. See what she did there? So Cecilia de Noël is a ghost story written from various perspectives, and it's like competing philosophies to do with the supernatural, including a sort of Christian view is part of it. I haven't read it yet, but that's a sort of a key aspect to it. So it certainly does deal with religion, and it will sort of see a spiritualist point of view and a rationalist point of view, and an occult investigator is in this. So and it's short. It has got everything, yes, and it's again relatively forgotten. So Cecilia de Noël, Lanoe Falconer, looking forward to getting stuck into that.
You could have done your whole MA just based on that one book.
Well, I came across it in an academic essay, yeah, about sort of gendered female occult investigators at the end of the century, and the sort of difference in how the female characters engaging with the supernatural, how they will deal with it. So no spoilers, but it looks really interesting. Also,
bizarre friends.
So remember, there was that book by Wilkie Collins. Well, I've got a book by Wilkie Collins. It's actually a collection of Wilkie Collins' ghost stories coming out at the end of September, so might read some of that as well. For something by Arthur Conan Doyle, the story of the Brown Hand appears in a collection called The Roots of Occult Detective Fiction, edited by Tim Prasil. So that'll be my Arthur Conan Doyle story, the story of the Brown Hand. Which reminded me that Arthur Machen wrote a story called The Red Hand. I'll read that as well. And L.T. Meade,
Read Meade,
as I'm always saying, wrote a story called The Dead Hand.
Oh, no.
So a trifecta of occult hands is going to come along. The doorbell has rung. Gonna have to stop for a bit.
Do you want to go?
No, I'm frightened. It might be a dead hand.
It's your fault.
I'm going to carry on. More L.T. Meade as well. She wrote a series of 6 stories about a character called John Bell, Ghost Exposer. These were serialised in another magazine, Cassell's Family Magazine. So I'll read them. They don't really fit any of the Victober prompts, but they are Victorian. I think it's about 1897, and definitely fit with the Occult Detective October, which is an event devised by MJ. Details also below. What else can I tell you? Oh, the play. The play.
The play?
The play. We've got a play to watch as well.
Ooh.
I was thinking Caesar and Cleopatra by George Bernard Shaw.
Oh, yes.
'Cause,
that was a set book once for me.
Oh, a set book.
Set book.
Did some stuff about Cleopatra last year, so I've read various Cleopatra related things. Never seen or read this play, so for Roz's challenge it could be George Bernard Shaw. Caesar and Cleopatra.
So George Bernard Shaw
Yes.
wrote an essay about himself that I believe was called Better Than Shakespeare. And he insisted on spelling Shakespeare without an E.
Excellent.
Because he was a bit of a...
Well, we'll see, shall we?
Shan't we? Shall we not?
And I've got some video making plans as well. One about that Cornhill Magazine, within which Armadale and all sorts of other things are serialised, because I've got a few of those, and I think it's really interesting the way these things initially appeared. And another one about yellowbacks. Yellowback. A particular format of book. Armadale appeared as a yellowback once. So did the Doctor's Wife. So, yes, with a bit of luck I'll do that too.
Doctor treat it for her. A yellowback.
Oh, my yellowback's playing up.
It's giving me so much.
Okay, dudes, that is a Victober TBR.
Hurrah for Victober.
Yeah, that's
And
what we
it's
say.
TBR. Do you want a yellow pillow to rest your yellow back on?
Yellow pillow, yellow pillow. Do, 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 do.